Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Etiquette Show. We have a fabulous guest today, Amber Soletti, to talk about her amazing event management company and the amazing events she presents to New Yorkers to get them engaged in the city and meeting one another. So take it away, Santosh.
Amber Soletti is a dating relationship expert, entrepreneur, and founder of Intellectual Blonde Events. www.intellectualblonde.com. Amber has written many published articles sharing dating advice and her experiences and learnings navigating the NYC singles scene. She, along with her edgy, tongue-in-cheek themed speed dating and singles parties, have been featured by the New York Times, Daily Mail, Howard Stern, Entertainment Tonight, Regis and Kelly, Mob Wives, The New York Post, What Not to Wear, Dateline NBC, Good Day NY, and CNN, and more. So welcome to the show, Amber. Great to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So we're definitely excited to have you here, and thanks for coming to our show, Amber. We're definitely interested. I mean, New York City has always been I find in New York City is an amazing place to meet people, lots of people all around. That's what I like about New York, engaging pedestrians, walking around, checking out the city. And I found, traditionally speaking, I think that most people in America think of New York as a great place if you're single, to experience a single life. But as you know, we've had the pandemic, and it has sort of changed a lot of social relationship. We had sort of new phrases introduced in our vocabulary, such as social distancing. But a lot of people nowadays are trying to, as much as possible, put the pandemic behind them while being mindful of public health concerns. So how has, in your sort of experience, how has dating changed since the COVID pandemic? And can you also introduce a little bit about what you do to help New Yorkers engage with each other in the city?
Yeah, so I own Intellectual Blonde Events, and we do singles events, parties, networking, trivia, all kinds of things all throughout the boroughs in New York. And, when COVID happened, I mean, that was just crazy time. Being a full-time event producer, my income came to a sudden halt. We had to really get creative and pivot. What we initially did was we started doing some online events. But I personally think it's really important to be in person to assess if you have chemistry with someone. So while I think online events were okay during COVID because it was the best thing we could do at the time, I still prefer the in-person events, which we've now slowly gotten back to, over the couple of years since COVID. And I have to say, a lot of behaviors have changed since COVID happened. I think people got in the habit of being isolated, of being behind their computer screen, of saving money and not going out. So while we are back in full swing producing events, the attendance is not what it was pre-COVID for sure. And again, I think it's because a lot of people's behaviors have changed since then. I think people have gotten into the habit of, not getting dressed up, not putting on makeup, just feeling comfortable staying at home, not wanting to put forth the effort. They got very comfortable and used to doing that. So now, now that we're back and trying to get people out again, I think it's hard to convince people that got into that habit for like over a year to change that behavior. So that's one of the biggest things we've noticed a difference in.
Awesome. And with that in mind, because I know that some dating companies, they're sort of having both in-person and online events. Are you doing that as well?
I'm primarily doing in-person events now because, I feel like you can correspond with someone, you can talk with someone on the phone, you can, send photos and think you're really into the person. But then when you meet with them, there's something, that undeniable chemistry that you need to assess in person. So I think, that's more effective for meeting people, and that's what we're really focused on.
Awesome. So one thing which is very impressive about your company is that it's very eclectic. You have events that offer to the LGBTQ community. So you're very much into diversity, and you also have a lot of tailored events to different lifestyles, different interests, different height and shaped people. And one of the interesting sort of events that I saw is an event you call Tough Love, where people are
Oh,
wanting to can get feedback rather than just getting rejections in terms of why did you reject this person. So how popular is that as a method of getting feedback? And have you noticed that people tend to
Yeah.
feedback?
I came up with that event because I had people coming to my events regularly that were not getting any matches, and they were very
oh,
frustrated. They were like, "Is your matching system broken? Like, how could I possibly not have a match?" I'm like, "No, the matching system works. I think you can't just keep going through life doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result." So what I thought would be nice is to have this event where perhaps people that aren't getting matches and aren't getting dates could attend and get actual, really constructive feedback from everyone they're meeting if they aren't selected as a match as to why. So when we host that event, we'll usually even have a dating coach, a female dating coach, a male dating coach. It depends what group we're producing it for, participate. So, you're dating. If someone doesn't pick you as a match, they have to tell you why. And
oh, that's useful.
this has been life changing for some of the people that have attended. There was a woman in particular that was dating, and the majority of men did not pick her. And
Oh,
said that it was because she was so much older than them, that they wanted to date more in their 20s and 30s and not in their 50s. And this woman was in her 30s. It was just
oh,
the way that she was dressing and presenting herself that she appeared significantly older than she actually was. So that was really an insight she had never been aware of. And she made some adjustments after that event and did much better. We had another guy that attended that didn't get any matches, and people were commenting on his teeth, that his teeth were really distracting and just not appealing. He actually just had some work done. It was that simple. And
hmm.
he's in a much better position. We had another person that just talked about themselves the whole time, or talked about their
Uh,
exes, which was, turning people off. So, it's just so frustrating. You go on dates, you think it went well, no one calls you back, or you go to an event, you don't get matches. But with this particular event, you actually get constructive feedback that can help you be aware of things you may not be aware of.
and that's
Awesome,
very
awesome.
good because like that way people can improve and get like the feedback without, being hurt, like in a constructive way. And speaking of the people coming to your events, is everyone who comes to your event looking for a serious relationship?
You know what? That's hard to say, because people are all looking for different things. That was something I wanted to mention. Everyone thinks New York City is a great place to date and meet someone. I
Hmm.
actually think New York is not a place that people come to settle down and meet the one and start a family. New York is more of a place where people move to with ambitions to focus on their career, to have as much fun as possible, and there's just so many options in New York. So I feel like it's very hard always to find someone that's in the same place in life as you are, that actually wants to maybe have an exclusive relationship or settle down. So that makes it tough. When people come to our events, everyone is different, and we don't pre-screen people, so it's the honor system. I don't know if people are married or not. I hope they're not if
Oh.
they're trying to meet people, but we've heard of occasions where they were.
Mm.
There's people that are just looking for hookups. There's people that are looking for different things. So I think it's just really having that conversation initially to try to figure out what the person is looking for, to make sure that you're aligned. We actually do have a committed speed dating event, which I made it where if you're interested in coming to this event, you are actually looking to settle down with someone that you meet, as long as they meet your criteria, like in the next 6 months to a year, to try to help eliminate that uncertainty of what people are there for. So that event is popular as well for people that are really serious and really wanting to take that next step. They sign up for that event to hopefully meet other people that are in the same place.
Well, that's great. Your events are so nuanced. That was very impressive about your site. It's like you're trying to cater to a whole diversity of communities, because I find that with general speed dating events, they're too generic. They're just focused on age group, like 30 to the 40 or
Yeah.
40s or 50s. And now and then, again, they'll have something like, oh, for people with higher degrees or whatever, but it's too generic. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's so generic, you end up getting a lot of people come to the events which are not compatible because they're only compatible based upon their age range. That's what I find the
Mm-hmm.
problem with these other events.
Yeah, I mean, I started this company back in 2008, and, we all have our dating deal breakers. And I was single at the time, and I actually did this to subsidize my dating life and my income at the same time. I mixed business and pleasure. And, I was going to events based on age range where, I'm 5'10" and I like tall men, all the
Of
men were like
course.
really short. And I was like, I'm already not going to be interested, So, I don't think having preferences like that makes us shallow. I think it just means that we know what we're attracted to. I think it really varies across the board. So I like to give people what they want, and you have a higher percentage chance of matching if you're actually meeting people that you're going to be interested in. So we have over 100 themes, and we also do that in the LGBT world. We have a gay jock night, we have a size
Oh,
matters night for tall singles. We have a tops and bottoms event. We have the committed event, the tough love. We have a ton of stuff. Asian persuasion. We have a femme for femme night.
nice.
Everyone's into something different, and we just try to, offer what most people are asking for.
So, in terms of your events, do you offer, I guess, a full range of events for people in the lesbian, gay communities, bisexual communities, and even transgender? Do you offer events for transgender communities as well?
We haven't done as much in the transgender space as of yet, but that is something we're getting more and more requests for. So, that's something we're exploring more as we kind of ramp up. Pre-COVID, we were doing a ton of events and like really niche events. And after COVID, I mean, we probably lost 95% of the venues we
Oh
hosted
no.
at, because they all went out of business. And a lot of our mailing lists, we used to have a mailing list of over 100,000 singles. A lot of
Wow.
people, partnered up during that time or aren't going out anymore. So we've kind of scaled back initially as we've, reemerged. But as we continue to grow, we are going to be offering more and more events like we had been previously.
So, I know that I hear that you're also a foodie. So,
Hmm.
would you offer an event like for gay foodies in their 30s? Would you offer like an event that specific in terms of
Yeah, very
LGBTQ
interesting.
It's
communities?
like a gay foodie event, but we probably wouldn't just make it in 30s. We would probably make it like 30 and over,
Uh
you know,
huh.
or
Ah,
like 20 to 40, because we don't care so much about the age range as
Uh
we
huh.
do focus on the common interests,
Uh huh.
backgrounds, and those types of things, if that makes sense. We do
Yeah.
have some events that are focused on age range, but the ones that are more themed and niche, we kind of have a very broad age range for those.
Awesome, awesome. So one thing is important that our viewers and listeners right now probably are curious about where can they find all your amazing events. So could you sort of recite sort of your website, so so that people can check out all your amazing events and sign up?
Yeah, so my website is intellectualblonde.com. And as soon as you go to that site, you just click on events and you can see what's coming up. I will preface that since we're towards the end of the year, we don't have as much going on right now as we typically do during the year. The end of the year, we kind of wind down a little bit because it's very competitive getting venues with corporate holiday parties, et cetera, and people are, very busy.
mhm.
But we add events every other week. So keep your eyes out and definitely join our follow us on Eventbrite, and you'll get alerted when new things are scheduled. And we'll definitely be doing some fun events during Valentine's Day as well.
Okay, yeah. So you offer like your events are usually all week, like usually in the weekends, the weekday, any particular part of the
They
week?
vary. We typically do them during the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Some of the bigger parties we'll do like on a Friday. With New Year's Eve happening on Sunday, we have a couple of events around that. So it varies, I would say.
So how for people who are new to sort of the dating world, how is speed dating different than online dating, and what are the sort of the advantages versus disadvantages. What insight can you give for people who want to know about speed dating and if they're just focused on sort of the regular online dating sites?
Yeah, I think speed dating, speaking as a busy, professional myself, I was working in the city, traveling a lot. I just didn't really have time to, do the back and forth, texting, emailing with someone I met online to set up a date to get there and then just be
Yeah.
disappointed. And I've invested all this time up front. So with the speed dating, you show up at the venue, you get a name tag, you get a dating pamphlet and a pencil, and you'll meet anywhere from 10 to 20 people in one evening over really painless 3-minute dates.
Yeah.
Some of the dates you'll be like, oh my God, that seemed like an hour, but some of them you'll be like, God, that was way too short. It's just enough time to, just, get a sense of a person, and see if you felt a connection with them at all that you would want to actually set up a date coming out of that speed date. You know what I mean? So that's just a really good way to you're meeting people in person. And while I said, you don't always know what someone's looking for, at least when you're in person, I think you have a better visual and sense of who the person is versus online, where a lot of times you're dealing with bots and
True. There's
people
also catfishing. Have
yeah,
you?
there's
They put
catfishing,
other
there's
people's
bots.
profiles. Yeah.
So I think it's nice. You have a captive audience. You got their
Yes.
attention for 3 minutes, and you go home after the event and you select matches online. And anyone that you're interested in will that you contact as a match will get your email address so they can follow up and set up a date or a time to talk if they're interested. But I think it's really nice and it's great for people that are shy and introverted because I
Hmm.
wouldn't recommend a party situation for someone that's very shy and introverted because they're not going to feel
Yes.
comfortable approaching people, talking to people. Whereas at the speed dating event, we place them right in front of you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You don't have to, kind of approach them and do things that may make you uncomfortable. And you just have the 3 minutes. I recommend kind of just having some questions maybe prepared, not just doing the standard, what do you do for work? Where in the city do you live? Like some more fun questions, like what do you do in your free time? Where do you like to travel? Those types of things. And then you just want to take really good notes as you're meeting people because there could be 5 Michaels or six Jennifers at the same event. So you want to put, tall Jennifer,
Yes.
Scientology Jennifer,
Yes.
that type of
That's a
thing.
good tip.
But
That's a very good tip.
yeah, and definitely don't want to drink too much at these events.
Ah, very good.
I know
Another
people
great tip.
get nervous. They get nervous, and I've seen
Yeah.
it way too often. Someone will show up very early for a speed dating event,
Ah,
have a couple drinks at the bar before the event even starts. Then they're drinking during the event, and they get very sloppy, very messy, and they tend to not get very many matches. Maybe have
yeah.
one drink, two max, like set a 2-drink max rule for yourself at a singles event, and
Right.
just go from there.
So I've heard online, like usually women have a bit more success online than men. You've heard that, right? Statistically. Uh,
What sense do you mean, like?
more matches, for example, on Tinder and things. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but when it comes to speed dating, do you think it's more equal? Like both men and women tend to get good matches, or
It just depends on the person,
okay,
honestly. I would say that this is another thing that it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. A lot of men will go in there and pick every single person that was in attendance as a match.
oh,
And I think they're just doing that because they want as many options again as possible. Whereas women,
yeah,
will actually pick the men they're interested in.
yes, that's
So
what's
in
happening.
that sense, I would say women get more matches, but I don't think it's
Uh,
because they're really getting legit quality matches. It's because these guys are just, you know, it's an ego thing or what, picking everyone just so that they'll hopefully get some matches back.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
men will be men, but that's a great tip to pick the one that you really want for guys, anybody that's watching. Yes.
But I just want to speak to the guys for a second who
Yeah.
do that at these
Yeah.
speed dating events.
Mhm.
One thing I find with the speed dating events is
Yeah.
that, okay, so when you're at a speed dating event, people basically events that I've gone to, there's a certain etiquette which is required. Like, and I guess you'd have it at your event that people should be polite, they should not, show their true colors at an event. Because, for example, if you go to a club and and you're a guy approaching a lady and stuff like that spontaneously, she's under no obligation to be polite or not polite to you. So as a
Yes.
guy, when I go to these events, we have all these ladies who are they all seem to be very polite and engaging. Sometimes it's hard to know, is she interested in me
Yeah,
or is
true.
she just being polite and whatever? So I think
Yeah.
sometimes, as you say, it's going to be ego. Guys as well, okay, let me see how many of these women who are interested in me and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interested in one. But there may be a situation, I think, that it's hard to tell if you're a guy who is going to be interested in me, because all of them seem to be interested in me. Are they just being polite or are they really interested in me? So do you have any sort of insight in terms of etiquette that you try to tell people in order so that people have more visual cues, particularly guys who are maybe not picking up the cues to know who's really
Yeah.
interested in them or not? Like you have like a sort of almost like a mini course to, okay, this is what the etiquette at our event, and this is how you avoid miscommunication.
Well, as far as etiquette goes, some things I'll mention to some of the viewers who have maybe never attended a speed dating event is that you need to meet everyone at the event. I've had some events before where, daters will see who their next date is and then conveniently take a bathroom break at that point or go get a drink at that
Oh.
point. And that's kind of not cool, At least give everyone 3 minutes of your time. The other thing I would say is, you get the pamphlet with the notes that you take on each dater. If someone's not taking any notes on you, that could be an indication they're not that interested in you, and it
Yeah.
could kind of be a little rude. Like at least write down the person you're meeting's name, So that's a good tip. Let's see what else. Oh, sometimes people will. This is mostly a male thing as well. They'll be really enjoying their 3 minute date and the bell rings and it's time for them to rotate and they just decide to keep talking to the person they're talking to. And then
They
they're
found
causing
their
this
match.
whole backup of traffic and I have to go over and
Yeah.
tap them and ask them to move on. Like, please respect, the time duration that you have and move on to the next person. If you're going to an event with a friend, which, quite often people will bring a friend, a wingman, a wingwoman to an event with them, I would suggest not sitting next to each other because it's kind of awkward that, you're hearing each other's dates and it can be intimidating to the person knowing that you guys are friends and maybe talking about them. So I think it's better for you guys to spread out so that you're not
Right.
right next to each other. And then if you do see that someone came as friends and you're interested in both people, I would say just pick one because that can also cause issues if you pick two friends as a match, knowing
Ah, okay.
they're friends, which is
Right.
interesting. Um,
Absolutely. Is
Cool.
there any way, in terms of etiquette? I mean, there's definitely going to be potentially some people who are going to be respectful of your etiquette, and maybe not people who are not so respectful of etiquette. So, are there ways that people can get on your ban list? Like, okay, I'm not inviting George or Sue
yeah,
anymore; they're
people
not
have
allowed to come.
definitely been banned from events.
Sorry.
One other
Okay.
big thing is
Yeah.
that you're not supposed to ask people for their phone number or contact information at
Yeah.
events. That's
Mhm.
something that's very uncomfortable to me personally. If I'm at a bar and someone comes up and is like, "Hey, can I get your number?" and it's awkward, like there's not supposed to be any of that pressure at these events. You meet the person for 3 minutes, and then if they're interested, they'll pick you online after the event. So, that's something that if someone's doing that at an event, they would be warned one time. And then if they continue to do it, we would not let them attend events moving forward. If someone is drinking too much and sloppy drunk and being inappropriate, they're not going to be invited back to an event. Things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you ever get situations where people get kind of obsessed about somebody and are trying to get you to be their matchmaker? Like, can you speak to her? Can you speak to him? They're going to be really
Wow.
interested in me.
That's
I'm sure you
that's
can
very
kind of
awkward.
bring us together. Like, do they do that to you too?
It's too
I
Put you on
had
the
lenient.
that
spot?
happen where people, don't understand why they weren't selected as a match back by a person and have asked me if I could send an email to them on their behalf. And I'll send one email max on their behalf. I will not give them their contact information. But I've done that a couple of times. But, contact information isn't something we would ever share. That's
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you go the extra mile to kind of at least to kind of for people who may be on the fence, just to make sure there wasn't any sort of miscommunication or stuff.
That's very
Yeah,
nice of
like
you.
I had a guy named Michael that was at an
Uh,
event. There were three Michaels there, and he felt like the woman he was interested in didn't pick him because she didn't realize which Michael he was, even though he had
ah,
a photo. So he asked me
uh,
to if I could send that email on his behalf, and I did that. Just
oh.
help.
You wanted to add something, Santos?
Oh, no, I think it's very polite of you to, at least give them a chance. So if it was like, I mean, there was any mix up, like they could still connect and who knows, start a family someday. And so
Yeah,
I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
that's another thing too. A lot of speed
Yeah.
dating companies, if you don't get any matches, they'll let you come to another event for free.
Oh, okay.
I don't do that because I feel
Mm,
like if you're not getting any matches, there's probably a reason why. And I don't want to keep throwing people not getting matches back into my dating pool. So if
ah,
you're not getting any matches, I would suggest you talk to a dating coach or maybe do one of our tough love events because
mm,
there's probably a reason you're not getting matches. Although I will say, I've had people that have come to an event, not liked anyone there, and said, I'm done with speed dating. It's not my thing. I didn't like the people that were there. That was one event. You know what I mean?
mm,
Different people come out for every single event. So it's really a
right.
numbers game. And all
Mm,
it takes is meeting one person. So you've got to just kind of play the odds. And even if you
yes.
go to several events where you haven't met anyone you're interested in, you keep putting yourself out there and you keep going because it just depends on which night that one person you're going to be interested in shows up.
So what part of the
Very good.
city are usually events? Like your events spread right across the boroughs, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx. Like how spread out are your events across the city?
Currently doing stuff in Williamsburg. We're also doing some stuff in Bushwick, in Astoria, and in Manhattan. That's primarily where we're doing events currently.
Okay.
And are they usually sort of at restaurants, bistros, different kind of venues? Like what kind of venues
Yeah,
usually
I
have
mean,
you?
if it's like a party or a mixer, maybe more like a club or a lounge. For some of the speed dating events and networking events, we do rooftops. You know, uh, like venues, like bars, restaurant bars, that type of thing.
Awesome,
Nice.
awesome. What about, for example, for people who are, let's say, in the IT, and if let's say they're lesbian in the IT, and they want to meet somebody else who is an IT professional and who is lesbian, who are lesbian, you kind of connect people's very specific according to their professional interests if they want to meet people in their professional area.
We don't do that so much currently with the
Yeah,
speed dating. We have a couple, like our fireman night is very popular.
yeah,
But as far as professions, what I would suggest is coming out to one of our networking nights,
yeah,
because people come from all over. And I mean, it's kind of easy to get a sense of, when you're speaking with someone, what they're into.
yeah. So you
Okay.
offer both speed dating and network events, which are like mixers for people professionally or just to connect. And I guess you have icebreakers at those events to bring people together.
Yeah, we have different icebreakers because I think that's really important for facilitating connection with people. And we usually do the icebreakers around kind of common interests. We have anything from like a bingo card that will have little spots that say like find someone wearing red, find someone whose favorite show is Game of Thrones, all these different things so that they're going up and engaging with people. We have all kinds of fun icebreakers that we do.
Awesome, awesome.
Right.
And yeah, and I guess some people who are really kind of serious. Have you had people come back to say that they're engaged because of your sort
Success
of events
stories.
and stuff? Good
Yeah,
positive
absolutely.
feedback.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so good. We don't hear it all the time, but when we do, because a lot of people don't want to share where they met, there's like
Ah,
the
Okay.
patients, but a lot of times we've had people email, I have two kids now. I met at your New
ah,
Year's party 10 years ago. I actually met my now husband at one of our singles events. So
wow.
my own success story, which is kind of nice. So it definitely works. It's a great way to meet people, and a lot of people have met this way.
Awesome.
That's
Your husband is 6'6", isn't he? He's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's actually 6'7". He's very tall.
Oh,
Wow,
6'7".
6'7".
Okay, maybe
That's
he grew
incredible.
because of the good food he's getting.
I know. Yeah, we met at my Size Matters night initially,
Nice.
and then I met him again at my New Year's party. So that's the other thing too. You know, you may meet someone at one event and didn't hit it off, but then you see them again at another event, and then time has passed, and you guys are interested. You know.
Cool.
Okay, okay. And so people like some people would just sign up, and anybody can sign up, or is there any sort of screening process, or they just sign up and then pay
Yeah,
and
they
whatever?
could sign up. You know, if the event has specific criteria, they should try to adhere to the criteria. I've
Hmm.
had people say to me, well, that's discrimination. Why can't I come, to this event, even though it's for people that are 6 foot and taller and I'm 5'2"? And I'm like, well, you know what? If you want to go, sign up. But, the people that are coming are looking to meet tall people. So I don't think you're going to get very many matches, but totally up to you.
Okay, so somebody comes to the event and it's not really in the criteria. They're basically they can come, but they come at their own risk because people are not really looking for them. I mean,
Exactly.
for that
They might
Yeah,
particular group.
they might
exactly.
not get selected. So
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
And
awesome.
just out of curiosity, has
Uh-huh.
there been times where somebody who is like 5'2" comes to an event that the ladies are expecting to meet 6 foot guys, and the 5'2" guy gets matched? Has that ever happened? Or
Thankfully, it's not happened before.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I did have someone that was very upset and very vocal and making all these threats because they felt
Oh,
the event
gosh.
theme was so discriminatory. And then when I told them, hey, you can show up, but I'm telling you, I don't know that you're going to get any matches if you're coming to an event where people are specifically wanting something else. And then he kind of stopped.
Nice.
He didn't show up. So.
oh, he's changed his mind. He just wanted to be a little bit. He just wanted to give you a hard time, and he said, then he start to think that, oh, maybe she's right. I'm not
Yeah,
going to that event. Why waste my money that way? Next, so it's good when that's a part of being experienced in community and engagement, and you can kind of talk people through so that you appeal to their rational mind rather than their whatever other mind they may be on.
And again, I just feel like it's not shallow. It's not like people are coming to this event and only wanting a tall man or only wanting a slender woman or only wanting a jock or whatever it may be, but that's their physical preference. That's what they're
Mhm.
attracted to. And then, of course, they're still looking for all the other substantive things that are on their checklist. But it's just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm attracted to men, but I'm not attracted to unattractive men. I'd rather date an attractive woman than an unattractive man. So I
Yeah.
feel like we all have our preferences and our dating deal breakers, and that doesn't
Right.
mean we're shallow. It's just what we prefer, right? I mean, I'm not offended if someone likes very slender women. I'm more curvy. I mean, that's just their preference. I don't find that shallow, you know?
Awesome, awesome. So, are
Right.
there any, since you're like an event management company, or any other sort of service you might want to mention to people, particularly single professionals? So, you have your fabulous, diverse speed dating events, and you have your single mixers. Any other type of service you provide?
We do boat cruises when the weather's better, like fun booze cruises, which are cool in the
Nice.
summer. We do trivia nights. We also partner with quiet events to do silent disco parties, which are
Mm.
really fun. I don't know if you guys have ever attended one of those, but they're actually super social because you have the wireless headphones on where you're listening to music, but then if you flip them up, you can just have a conversation with someone without loud blaring music.
Oh, that's very clever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
A
really
lot of
cool.
clubs, it's very loud. You can't really talk to people. So this is very smart.
Yeah. We
Awesome.
have a firefighter party coming up. We have New Year's events, speed dating, lots of fun stuff, networking.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. So, you're very sort of eclectic as a company, offering something for everybody who are single professionals out there.
Well, we try.
Wonderful.
I don't know if we got everybody covered, but we do a lot.
That's
Okay.
good.
And if there's anybody who looks at your event that says, how come my type of group is not in there? Can you make the open to suggestions in terms of,
Yeah, of course. I
yeah,
mean, people will email us suggestions, and if it's something we're getting from multiple people, then it's something we'll explore. If it's something that only one person is asking for and I don't think I can fill that event, then I'm not going to be able to do that, you know?
Awesome. So any questions you want to accent on?
Oh, no. I really like what you're doing, Amber, and keep up the good work. Especially your tough love, event is very good. It helps people improve and better their chances, not just in speed dating, but in general in their life and whatever they're trying to achieve.
I mean, I was the first to introduce the themed events back in 2008. This was a time when it was only done based on age range, and I was the first themed events. And now, as people are copying and also doing themed events, I've got to kind of evolve. So what's next on the gamut is doing more quality controlled events. So I have a new event concept called Ranked, for example. Where once you come to one of my events, you have a matching percentage. So I know how many people are picking you as a match. So for example, maybe it has a requirement or a prerequisite of at least, 40% of people picking you as a match at an event. So people are willing to pay more of a premium because the people they're going to be meeting at this event, have already been to events and have like a 40% match rate. So things like
pre-selected.
that
Nice.
kind of raise the bar because people have very limited time to date. And I think it's important to make it as quality controlled as we can.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're like a serious trailblazer among not just New York City, but America in general in terms of championing people coming together in a positive way, where especially in a city where, as you mentioned, people are very career focused, they're busy. Rent is very expensive in New York City, and sometimes a lot of times they're not going to have a lot of time to kind of meet people casually. So if they come to your event, they can actually meet people in ways that they wouldn't meet if they're just walking around and going to clubbing and at their workplace or whatever they're doing whatever at their busy lifestyle.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wonderful. Awesome. Because if you're attracted to a certain type of person, it's very hard to necessarily spontaneously meet them, especially with with the challenges of COVID, social distances, people staying indoors more. You're less of an opportunity to meet people outdoors if they come to your events. Then they can meet people in ways that they wouldn't meet in this sort of post-COVID environment.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we have a fitness singles event, which is for athletic, active singles to attend. And, a lot of them came and I said, why didn't you meet at the gym? And they said, it's awkward to go up to someone at the gym. This is much better. Like, we know the people here are single and actually looking to meet someone. So
that's very good. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's excellent because, there's a lot of times you go to the gym and you don't know who's married, who's dating, whatever. And if you're a polite lady or a polite guy, you're not going to know. So if you go to your event and you want somebody who is interested in the kind of being fitness and working out and health and all this other kind of stuff, it definitely makes things a lot less stressful than approaching somebody at the gym.
I think so.
Yes. You're making
and
it
avoids
easier
people making harassment complaints like this. Lady, this guy is harassing me.
Another tip is, a lot of people will come to events by themselves, and I tell them, be open-minded. Like, talk to people of the same sex because you may make a friend. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, a lot of people won't find a match, but they'll make a friend, and that friend may introduce them to the one. You never know, or get them a new job or a lead on an apartment, or just be a wingman or wingwoman. So be very open. Like, if you come into an event and you don't see anyone you're physically attracted to, don't just shut down and get on your phone and stand with your arms crossed. Like, still talk to people and see, who you can connect with on other levels.
Very good point.
That's a great point, Biggest. But I find that in these type of events, ladies are much more proactive about connecting with each other at these kind of dating events. I find that, at least my experience of guys at speed dating events, is that we're more likely to kind of not want to make eye contact with each other. Like, oh, you were okay. Hi, hello, and then walk away. Guys, maybe your events are different, but I find guys with a speed dating events in particular are less open to speaking to another guy at the event because they think, oh, They'll think I'm gay, so I'll just hi, how are you? Fine,
Well,
okay, I'll just walk away.
that's
Yeah.
funny too, because we have quote straight guys that come to some of our events, but they only pick guys at the event, which is kind of
Oh, they have a bromance going. Sometimes guys,
I don't know. I don't think
guys
it's a
have like a.
romance. I think
Oh.
Oh, they'll actually write another guy at the
Yeah,
so-called
guys.
heterosexual event. They'll write
Yeah,
another guy they want to meet socially.
they
yeah,
pick them as a match.
and they just want to
Oh,
be friends. I
that's
don't know, but
interesting.
sometimes.
I don't know. I don't think they just want to be friends because it's the same couple of guys that are coming to these events that I've seen do it a few times.
And
So
do they get? And have there been matches with the other guy, or the other guy?
I haven't seen them matched yet.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
could happen.
that's interesting. Were you going to say something, Santos?
Oh no, it's just interesting. Like that last point, you never know, right? So, sexuality could, be different, or you get new ideas, and
Hmm?
just keep your mind open, I guess.
Yeah, we're learning as we go too, So for
Very
a lot
fun.
of our women's, we say our events now we're saying if you identify as female or if you identify as male, like everything is evolving and we're trying to keep up.
That's
Awesome,
great.
awesome. So, is there
Yeah.
anything you wanted to add, Amber, that you didn't mention before in terms of getting the word out there about what you do and to bring singles together?
No, just, there's life outside your apartment, people.
Yes.
We get so confined into our apartment and ordering takeout in and not leaving and being on our computer. Like, get out and be social. There's so much going on. It's a great time to meet people. So I hope you check out our website, intellectualblonde.com, click on events and see what's coming out.
Fantastic. So, thank you very much, Amber, for coming on the Etiquette Show to talk about your amazing services you provide to singles. And we encourage our listeners and viewers out there to check out Amber's amazing events. If you're single and looking and you have certain preferences, as we all do, you definitely got to check out our events and get out of the apartment, get
Yeah.
out of your house, start meeting people, connecting with people. That's the way you start meeting people. And start getting away outside of your computer. Don't
Comfort zone.
confine
Get out of your
yourself to
comfort
that. Avoid catfishing and come out and actually meet real people, want to make real connections.
Yes. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys
Thank you
so
once
much.
again, Amber.
No problem. Thank you as
Thank
well.
you.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
will help
Okay.
a lot of people who are stuck on the phone. Phone apps.
Awesome. You
So
can
I'm
stop
gonna
recording now,
stop.
Santos.
Hey everyone, welcome to our on-speed dating event tonight. Tonight's theme is one of my personal favorites. It's hung night. Tonight's event is specifically for well-endowed men that are 7 inches and above. And if we find out that any of these guys do not measure up from personal experience from any of the women in attendance, they will be banned. And you guys gonna meet me too because I'm single and I mix business with pleasure. So without further ado, we're starting. 3 minutes. I'm Amber Soletti. I run a speed dating company in New York City.
They call me a psychic, but I feel that I'm more of a medicine woman.
All right, come on, guys. So, are you a size queen?
No, not really.
So you believe it's not the size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean?
Yeah.
When I started this company, I had 2 things in mind. 1, to make a little extra money, and 2, to find myself a man.
Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the Etiquette Show. I'm Conchetta Rose. Today on the Etiquette Show, we have writer, artist, curator, educator, co-founder, and production designer for Fog Lifter Journal and Press, a queer literary collaborative whose mission is to provide a platform for diverse writing and queer points of view, Maya Jeffra. Maya, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Now, where are you? Because it looks glorious.
I am in Sayulita, Mexico. At the it's one of the few benefits of requiring myself to teach online for the pandemic.
Be anywhere, right? That's fabulous. So tell our friends right away, what is Fog Lifter Journal and Press?
Sure. Fog Lifter Journal and the subsequent press is a literary collaborative that elevates and features queer and trans voices across the spectrum. The reason why I founded it was to work towards decentering the white male cis supremacy in literature, and to begin to provide more opportunities for representation across the queer spectrum and the trans spectrum in particular. So we really champion voices that are operating in the margins rather than, the kind of shooting for the mainstream kind of representations of reality.
That's beautiful. And how long have you established this?
We're in our 6th year.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on that. That's fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
So why do you believe it's so important to have a queer literary magazine?
There weren't many out there when we founded it, and there still aren't. Because literature already struggles to be funded. We watch, literary magazines come and go, and especially ones that don't cater to like a mainstream audience. But that unfortunately makes it so that writers and readers don't see themselves reflected in the work that they're encountering in the bookstore and, online. And so we found it really important that those voices are there in order, because art represents life, right? And so people see themselves in the art that is produced. And we wanted to make sure that, these young queer and trans writers and young queer and trans people are seeing their experiences so that they don't feel so entirely marginalized. We want to celebrate them.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, that makes it vitally important then, doesn't it, in our society?
Yes. It's definitely an act of social justice, for sure.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Oh, that gave me chills. I love that phrasing. Yes, it sure is. So do you have a mixture then of professional writers as well as maybe more amateur writers?
We do, actually. So, we'll publish people who are very well established, like Eileen Miles, Kazim Ali, Danica Kelly. But then we will also publish folks that it's their very first publication. So it's across the spectrum. And the community is very enthusiastic about it. So we get a lot of well-established writers contributing to us as well. Yeah. They want to help kind of elevate the voices that we find.
Yes, that's beautiful. I love that. It's a networking opportunity too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for all of them.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, I love that. I want to hear more about that. How can writers reach you? How can they, get on board?
So there is kind of a broad accepted submission process for all literary magazines, and we're part of that. It's called Submittable. And we have free submissions. We pay our writers. They can obviously find us through all of the social media channels and our website. But a lot of writers know where to go. They know to submit their work on this Submittable platform, because most literary magazines are kind of affiliated with it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So what kind of topics do you cover in the magazine? All kinds?
We really want to get at the nuanced experiences that typically are not represented in mainstream literature. So, a lot of times the queer narratives that we see most made visible are like the coming out narrative, or, the closeted person who's in love with someone, right? It's like there's a couple narrative tropes, but we don't do that. We do the experiences that are more common among queers. Yeah, we have a coming out story, right? But we also want to show the transition story. We want to show, the real complicated natures of things. For example, there's a phenomenon that's nuanced where it's like, let's say, a trans male makes the transition and goes through the hormones. And then though he may have been attracted to women when he was viewed biologically as a woman, something happens when he goes through the hormones and he becomes a gay male, things like that are really they're more illegible for a mainstream audience, but are very much a part of, the fabric and complexity of the queer spectrum. We like to kind of make those narratives visible, those experiences, and they speak more to a queer and trans audience so that they can be like, yeah, there's something refreshing about seeing my experience, on the page.
Yeah. You don't feel alone then either. You don't feel like the only one in the whole world who's ever experienced this moment. I must be bad or punished or something horrible, negative. And instead no, this is a part of life. This is a part of my moment, my journey. And look at all these other people who have experienced this person right here on the page who I don't know had the same experience. That makes you feel connected even when you are separated. Yeah.
Right. And we, a lot of the queer and even trans narratives that have been widely published, again, are more legible to a mainstream audience, but they tend to be kind of monocultural. They tend to be mono character. And so it almost stereotypes queers. Whereas when you see their like full, nuanced, complex experiences, they're more human. They're less kind of like a sideshow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like free space.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I can feel free to share my story because I'm not going to be judged. No one's going to throw it out, and no one's going to say, get this out of here.
Right.
So that's beautiful that you're creating that for the masses in that way. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, me and a bunch of wonderful editors. I mean, we have an incredible, incredible group. So talented, so conscientious. Yeah. So it's definitely, it's a family affair.
Yeah. So I would imagine you get several submissions a day.
We do. Yeah.
So how do you decipher which ones to choose and when?
That's a great question. We mainly decide, is this voice fresh? Is this representing, individuals who might not have been, have not seen themselves on the page? We think about that. We also think about how, the writing, the art itself, the craft is queering, what we call queering the established craft, meaning that, it's not adhering to, what is considered, good professional writing. Mm-hmm. We're interested in those voices that kind of chisel away at that, because who has established what is good writing? Well, namely straight white men, Right. And so, we want to push that envelope, push that idea and kind of broaden out the aesthetic of what good writing is. So we tend to be real excited by unique voices, voices that are unapologetic and bold, but also, language their experience in a way that's exciting.
Mm. And do you have a set number of how many submissions you accept?
No, just whatever is exciting to us. Yeah.
Isn't it make up all the rules?
That's right. Work for yourself.
Exactly. Be your own boss. Yeah. So tell me, what is the Violence Almanac?
Oh, okay. So I'm a writer as well. And the Violence Almanac is a collection of short stories that is addressing the various ways that violence exists in our culture, and really looks at systems that have perpetuated the violence, namely, racial capitalism, colonial ideas, certainly, the patriarchy and the misogyny that kind of trickles down from it. And so I look at violence as, what we typically would think of, domestic abuse, assault, but also disease, and, various kind of micro oppressions. I look at it all as violence, and I try to language where all of those things kind of come from and how we can mitigate them in all of the stories.
Wow. So so these are all been written by you. Okay. And how many short stories are there?
There are 12 to represent each month.
Wow, so you are busy.
A little bit.
Wow. So okay, so there's one per month for the whole year, and people can buy this, or can they read it online, or where can they get it?
So it's releasing next Friday on the 19th. I don't even know what day it is.
Fine.
But it's releasing with Black Lawrence Press. It's a press out of New York that have, I mean, a lot of wonderful writers on their roster. I'm very excited about it. They're an incredible editorial team and, you know, book design team. So, and this is my first fiction. I've had 2 other books of nonfiction, but this is my first fiction. So kind of a debut.
Wow, fabulous. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Amazing. So again, tell our friends where they can follow you, where they can follow all your wonderful accomplishments here.
So my website is mayajeffer.com. And I think all my social media is the same. And then even more so, I'd love for people to go to foglifterpress.com. So you can see all the projects that we're doing there as well. In addition to the magazine, we also publish anthologies, and we even have a chapbook contest called Start a Riot that publishes a QTPOC writer who hasn't published before. So we give them their debut publication as well.
That's amazing. You are just sharing the love. You're not only successful in what you do, but you're sharing that with the masses. And I liked what you said about it being a social justice to do so. That mindset is just beautiful. You must know that about yourself, right?
I know it's beautiful to be a literary citizen. If you're going to be a writer with any kind of capacity, you need to give back to your community, because it's very difficult to be an artist in America. And I think the more that you serve others, the more it comes back to you. So in some ways, it's selfish. You know, it's just, you know how it is. Love isn't finite. It's the more you spread it, the more there is. And I think we all need that right now.
Absolutely. Maya, thank you so much for being here with us today. Your message is so beautiful. Please get on it. Find this gentleman. He's fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We so appreciate you being on the Etiquette Show today.
Thanks so much, Conchetta.
Thank you. Talk to you soon, guys.
I know. This is awesome. Oh.